I'm starting to believe that white privilege is dead in sports. What's going on? It's DA Born. Welcome to Born with Purpose. As always, and you know what it is. Like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. All right, I want to explain. White privilege used to be something that was highly explained in sports, in football, in particular. When when a white quarterback was good, they would say he was highly intelligent, super smart, knows football. When a black quarterback was great in football, they said he had natural born talent and explosive, as if, brains, he didn't have intellect or whatever. That used to be the thing. But now, I don't know. I don't think you can use the white black quarterback narrative now. Some people were saying, Shedeur Sanders, he got drafted in the 5th round because, hey, he was a arrogant black quarterback, and he felt like he just knew he was bigger than the game itself, and he got drafted in the 5th round, and that happened because he was black. But then you look at who was the number one draft pick this year, same draft. It was Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans, black man. So that being said, I want to delve into basketball for a bit. All right, I want to just look at Tom Thibodeau. He was the former coach of the New York Knicks. Just less than a couple weeks ago, he took the New York Knicks to the East Finals against the Indiana Pacers. Lost in 6 games. This was the first time that the New York Knicks in a long time have won back-to-back 50-win seasons. And what happened? Because he didn't get to the championship, they fired him. They didn't believe that he could take them to the next level. All right, so earlier in the year, we had 2 other firings in the NBA. We had one, Taylor Jenkins, who was the coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, and he got fired at the All-Star break. Memphis was a playoff team. I guess they felt that they needed to go in a better direction. They ended up getting swept in the first round of the playoffs. Another example was, even worse example, is Mike Malone, former coach of the Denver Nuggets. He got fired 3 days before the regular season was over. He had just won a championship with the Denver Nuggets 2 seasons prior. He got fired. And then not earlier, the end of the season, we had Mike Budenholzer fired from the Phoenix Suns because Phoenix Suns, with a big 3 of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, could make the playoffs. They couldn't even make it into the play-in tournament. As a result, Mike Budenholzer, who also was an NBA champion coach, lost his job. So I mentioned 4 firings that happened in the NBA just this year. All 4 of these head coaches were white. So that being said, I was just thinking the narrative, especially after Tom Thibodeau lost his job. Now, you can say what you want with Tom Thibodeau. He's never won a championship. He's a good coach. Is he a great coach? We don't know. East Finals is a big thing. New York Knicks has never gone that far since the turn of the century. But here's what I was thinking. If Tom Thibodeau was black, what would the media and fans be saying? I believe they would be outraged, because they would say, how can you fire a coach who took the Knicks, the beloved New York Knicks, to back-to-back 50-win seasons and got them to the East Finals, 2 wins away from an NBA Finals, 6 wins away from an NBA championship? How could you fire this coach, a black man? That's racist. White privilege. What if Mike Malone was black? What would the outrage be? How could you fire this black coach? 3 games before the regular season's over. What kind of foolishness is this? That's racism, if you ask me. So I'm just saying all this to say that maybe white privilege is dead, because the four coaches that have been fired in the NBA this season have all been white. And in moving forward, can you really say that, oh, when a black coach gets fired and he was a good coach, can you cry out racism? Is it worth a cry? Is it worth a debate? Is it worth even being mentioned? Is white privilege dead in sports? Let's go a little bit further. Let's go back to football. You have Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, in his 18 years of coaching, has never had a season under 500, which is pretty incredible. He brought 1 Super Bowl to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He took them to 2 Super Bowls. He lost 1, he won 1. However, even though Mike Tomlin's never had a season under 500, the last 8 times he has gone to the playoffs, he has not won a playoff game. Now, in most situations, in most teams, Mike Tomlin would be gone already. But 18 years in, he is still standing. He is still the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he will be coaching this season. Nobody expects him to ever get fired. However, now some will say it's because the Rooneys are good people and they don't fire their coaches. They've only had 3 head coaches in their history. But I just gotta say this. Is the reason why Mike Tomlin hasn't been fired as yet is maybe because the owners, who are the Rooneys, invented or created something that the NFL calls the Rooney Rule, which states that if you're going to hire a head coach, you need to interview coaches of color, coaching candidates of color before you hire anybody. So whether you hire a white coach or a black coach, make sure that you hire you interview a person of color, at least one. And, and as a result, they did that with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has been coaching for 18 years. I personally, this is just my opinion only, I believe that Mike Tomlin still has a job, because if the Rooneys were to let Mike Tomlin go, they would have to absolutely squash the Rooney Rule. You can't have a rule named after you and then do the opposite of the actual rule. It's just my opinion. I know Steeler fans will say, hey, it's just the Rooney way. But why does Mike Tomlin still have a job? If Mike Tomlin was white, would he have been fired by now? I don't know. I'm just throwing these things out there. Can we still use the term white privilege when it comes to sports? But that's my opinion. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Does white privilege still exist? Has the roles reversed in terms of racism in sports? Is it more directed towards white coaches and white athletes? I don't know. Or can we just drop the whole white privilege and racism thing altogether in sports? Give me your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe to Born with Purpose. And until the next walk, until the next discussion, I am out. God bless. Peace.